After 2 years of driving from Alaska to Argentina, today is the day where we finally attempt to cross the border with Argentina. And in this video, we're also going to be doing a Q&A and answer a ton of your questions. Do we have tips on how to have sex in a van?
What?
When you hit the end of the Pan American Highway, are you shipping the van back and flying home? We've actually also been working on a little secret project. Do you set yourself a daily or weekly budget?
We try to do it on about 1,000.
So right now we are in Chile. Look at this stunning view that we have here, right behind the van. That, my friends, is a volcano. I think we're getting really, really close to Patagonia.
Let's go, head to Argentina.
Now while we drive there, we're actually going to be answering some of your questions. Daphne asks, what is your plan after this road trip? Will you go back to work or keep exploring the world and keep posting videos?
Well, before we started traveling full-time, Kim was working as a tax lawyer and I was working as a financial consultant. We both earned quite a good money because of our jobs. And then 6 years ago, we quit our jobs and decided to travel the world. So yeah, of course we're gonna go back to work, back to our cubicle, back to our 9 to 5 or maybe 9 to life because we were working crazy hours. I mean, it seems like the best thing to do, you know? No, we're actually gonna continue traveling next year. We're gonna try and make this work. And we have actually some really nice plans for next year. It's gonna be a little bit different, but super excited about it.
Next question, Darren. What has been the most challenging part of this trip and what has been the most surprising? The most challenging part of this trip is that it has not gone as smooth as we thought it would to drive from Alaska to Argentina. When we started this trip, we knew it would be hard, but I think we never anticipated just how many problems we would have with the van. In total, I think we've broken down like for at least several weeks, at least 3 or 4 times. Once was even 2 months. Sometimes we would literally be stuck for like weeks on end in snowstorms with our car battery not working, with our heater on the inside not working. Afterwards you laugh about it and it's part of the adventure, but in a moment like that really sucks. So we're an hour out from the border with Argentina right now. Just look at how pretty everything is here. It's like wintry, but also mountains in the background over there. The most surprising thing was that, in particular, the way we look at problems has completely changed. Like before we looked at problems as these massive hurdles that the universe was sending our way and oh my god, how unfair, I just want to do this thing and why can't I do it and poor me. Whereas now we try to look at it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, to practice patience, to be optimistic, and that applies not just to this trip, but to like every single facet of your life. So much of life is basically what you choose to focus on. If you can just change the way you look at problems, you change your whole life. Whoa, it's the deepest thing I've ever said. Okay, so I just got us some food. It said on the sign that it was fast food. It was in fact very slow food. I brought some very typical Chilean food. First we have a fried empanada with queso, which looks really good. She asked me, would you like queso or would you like queso and corn? I was like, just give me the queso. Oh yeah.
It's filled with cheese on the inside. Salty cheese, very flavorful. Please tell me you brought 5 of these.
And then we have, this is a typical Chilean sandwich. It has chicken and then a lot of avocado, which here they call palta instead of aguacate, like everywhere else in Latin America.
What?
And then this is the reason why it took 30 minutes. They sell fries, but I don't think they heat the oil until someone comes. $6 worth of fries. These better be good because I waited for them for a long time. Decent enough.
I really love the empanada. Like the empanada is the best. Wow.
That is what $14 worth of snacks looks like in Chile. Now, let's head to the Argentina border. This border crossing into Argentina is no ordinary border crossing for us. This will be the pinnacle, or we're hoping this will be the pinnacle, of 2 years spent on the Pan American Highway attempting to drive all the way from Alaska to Argentina.
Hey, look at that. There's still a bunch of snow here. We're in the southern hemisphere and it was just winter time in July and August and now it's actually springtime, so it's starting to melt, but there's still some snow here. That's really cool. Alright, hit me with the next Q&A question before we cross the border.
Wandered Off asks, I know you've shown a couple sketchy situations that you've been in, but we are wondering if you've shown the most sketchy or unsafe situation while on this adventure. We've visited Nicaragua thinking it was super dangerous and found the country to be mostly safe and amazing. Keep up the great videos.
Well, we didn't have many sketchy situations at all, actually. I think we would have expected also to have more because Latin America is known to not be super safe and there's quite some crime.
There are some smaller things though that we didn't really film. For example, when we were in Colombia. Colombia, we love the country, like we absolutely love it, but it is probably the most sketchy country we've driven through on this trip. Nothing happened in terms of big incidents, but you can feel when you're in Colombia that since the last time we were there, because this was our second time there, the first time was 5 years ago, ever since then the country's gotten a lot more poor, it seems, or at least a lot more people visibly living in poverty than the last time we were there. And certain areas that we drove through, we could definitely feel like we don't want to stop here, we definitely don't want to spend the night here, and so we didn't.
There was this one little bit sketchy situation where I was stopped by a cop in Colombia, in Cartagena, when I picked up the van from the harbor. Kim wasn't there with me. It was already dark and I got lost in the city, and I think I took a road that wasn't supposed to be on. And yeah, so it was a little bit sketchy with the cops, so I had to kind of make a contribution to their pension fund, I think.
And there are a couple of scams that you encounter as you drive through South America. For example, there's a lot of countries where when you pass a mechanic shop, people will try to flag you down and wave at you and sometimes point at your car and be like, something is wrong. Even if you're on the highway going like 50 miles an hour, they'll just be like, oh no, pull in, something's wrong. And if you fall for that, they will do a thorough inspection of your car and try to figure out all sorts of stuff, and they will make you pay a lot of money while essentially nothing was wrong. In certain areas even, they slash your tires or they like damage something so that you have to stop at their mechanic shop. And we have had a few incidents where it was clear that people were trying to like pull us into their shop.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't film that, but
we didn't film that
we
because
read about the scams beforehand.
So
there's
we
this app we use called iOverlander, where other people travel in their van also put like messages, warning signs, or great spots to visit. So we kind of knew about it, so it helps to come prepared and be aware of like what are like the main scams that people have.
And I think we're a good example of, if you just go prepared and know what to look out for, the odds of something happening are small. Even if some scams are really close to you and people are trying to scam you, if you just don't fall for it, nothing bad will happen. By the way, guys, look at the scenery. Look at how beautiful it is here. The snow, the mountains. I think there's like some of these mountains are even volcanoes. Just incredible. And we're almost at the border with Argentina. Like, it feels a little bit surreal to say that, because we always said we're gonna drive from Alaska to Argentina.
500 meters to the border.
500 meters to the border. We're almost at the, I mean, it's just surreal. Scenic location for a border. Alright, so we just checked out of Chile. This was the most Swiss chalet looking border that I have ever seen in my entire life. The whole thing on the inside was just like wooden paneling everywhere. It was like we were in the Swiss Alps or something. Anyway, now we need to get to the part, to the Argentina part of the border. This sure is promising for the roads in Argentina. It's very, very bouncy here. Look how furry these trees are.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Oh, my coffee. Careful, Mike, with all the potholes.
Alright, we are at the border now in Argentina. This is where the rubber meets the road. See if we can get into our final country, Pan America. This is the most scenic border crossing I've ever seen.
Hola, buenas.
That's it? Okay, gracias.
Gracias.
So, we made it into Argentina. I think this was the quickest border crossing ever. What did it take us? 40 minutes? 50 minutes?
40 minutes, something like that. I can't believe we made it to Argentina.
Woohoo! The final country.
the final country, because that was one of the questions that we got a ton of times, is like, what are you going to do next? What is the next country after Chile? The next country, obviously, is Argentina, and it will be the final country of our trip on the Pan American, but that does not mean that we have achieved our goal. The goal was not officially to get to Argentina. Not just that, it was to get to the very southernmost point, the southern tippity-toppity of South America, or tippity-bottomity of South America, in Ushuaia.
So we still have thousands of miles ahead of us and some really cool videos coming up.
And the best part is also still coming up, Patagonia, which I think is going to be one of the best parts of this trip. Truly amazing. Not only did we get to Argentina, but we also got to the tippity-toppity, the top of Patagonia. This is a glacial lake. It goes all the way around that bend behind the mountains that you see here. Pine trees. It's beautifully green even though it's just been winter here in the southern hemisphere. Crystal clear water. Wow. Definitely not a bad first stop for our time here in Argentina. Pequeña Playa de Montaña. Small beach of the mountains. There's a small parking here right off the beach where there's a bunch of other overlander people, a few other vans over there in the back, and this is where we're gonna spend the night. Now when you think of Patagonia, you probably think of these huge snow-capped mountains, but that's not this bit. This is the very top, the very beginning of Patagonia. We're only gonna go further south over the course of the next couple of weeks, so it's gonna get even better than this. Okay, so this next question is Daphne again. And she says, this question is a bit more personal maybe, but you said I could ask everything. My husband and I were traveling through Europe for almost 5 months in a camper van, but all those months I didn't feel comfortable making love in the camper van.
What?
Parking in public spaces, the feeling of not being in a private place like a house, was a problem for me. How do you two experience this? Do you recognize this problem, and or do you have methods to avoid this problem?
Wait,
so since
let me show you.
Since my parents watch these videos, I am going to leave this. Maybe that's exactly why I shouldn't leave this to you. You answer it.
I don't know, it's not really...
Keep it civil.
It's not really a problem, I think, for us. We just like, I don't know, close up the window so people can't see in, and then...
Can't be loud or anything, but...
Yeah. I'm usually a screamer, so I can't do that.
No, we don't really, I mean... If you get in your head about it, it's a problem. If you don't, then
yeah.
No one's gonna know.
If you're in a super busy area, there's like people walking next to the van all the time, can maybe be a little awkward. But like this, it's a parking lot. There's not really any people around very close. And...
Especially at night. I mean, there's ways. Okay, next question. Julianne.
If the van is rocking, don't come knocking.
Hi Kim and Naik, you guys are the funniest and cutest YouTube couple out there.
I am the funniest and she's the cutest.
I was wondering if you guys ever get homesick. Also, do you ever get tired of traveling after being on the road for a long time? Thanks for all the amazing adventures. Well, first of all, thank you for coming along on the amazing adventures. Do we ever get homesick? Well, we do. I mean...
Yeah, we do get homesick, especially after a long time of being on the road. You kind of feel like you're missing like the connection with your friends and family, and that makes us homesick.
Yeah, one thing that especially makes me homesick is because I have 2 godchildren and you have one, and we just have a bunch of children. Our best friends have kids that we feel very close to.
A bunch of children.
Well, no, like our best friends have children that we feel that we're close to. We love those tiny humans, and just if we go home like once a year, which for the last 2 years has kind of been like the average, you notice these tiny humans have grown like this much since the last time you saw them.
They grow up so quickly.
And they have all these new skills that they didn't have before, and then you're just like, oh, time passes when I'm not here.
Yeah.
And I could have been here. So yeah, that's a little bit something that makes us homesick.
I don't think we get homesick that much, like missing home. I think more like the connection with our friends and family.
Yeah.
Other than that, we don't miss that much.
And even then, we try not to dwell on that.
I think we've also just accepted that this is part of traveling full time.
It's a
choice. You don't get to see all the people.
Yeah.
And to the question if we ever get sick of traveling, I don't think we ever do. I mean, there's like times where we're like tired and don't want to keep moving, because I mean it can be really tiring just going to new places all the time and driving a lot and traveling a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of because you don't really have a routine, because right now we got into Argentina, we don't know where the good supermarkets are, we don't know what normal prices are, we don't know where to get gas, we don't know where to get cash. We have to, every time you switch around to a new place, let alone a new country, you have to figure everything out
from
again.
scratch, and that can be quite tiring, especially if you're doing a lot of different stuff as well.
Yeah, I also think that it's different for us in reality compared to what you might think based on our videos, because we do quite a bit of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work actually, and we don't always film that. But we'll come back to the work bit later, because there's some questions about that as well.
Ooh.
We've actually also been working on a little secret project. Moving on, Helen and Lotta. Me and my partner are currently planning the Pan American. Woohoo! Good for you!
Highly recommended.
And we'll be shipping our van from the UK to Halifax early 2026 and plan on spending 3 years driving south. We were just wondering how you budgeted for the trip. Do you set yourself a daily or weekly budget? There's so much conflicting information online, and we're just trying to get a rough estimation of the cost. I'm not sure it will be worth... she is sure. I am sure it will be worth every penny though.
We don't have a fixed budget as such, but we try to do it on about 2,000 euros a month approximately. That's about $2,200. Ever since Mexico, I think, probably in Canada and Alaska we spent more, but we didn't really track it that much because we were like trying to cross all the country and it was just expensive for the gasoline. That budget doesn't include all the costs, it's more like our daily spending. Things like payments we still have for the van, or the insurance we have back in Belgium, some other costs that we have for the van, we don't include
car
that.
insurance, spare parts, mechanic visits, emergency stuff, travel insurance, none of that is included.
Yeah.
Like the 2,000 euros is literally, I go to the supermarket, I go to the gas station, and I go to a restaurant, all those, I buy some clothes and stuff, but that's about it.
Yeah, and then some months we did like some extra bigger things, I think. Like when we were in the US in the Grand Canyon, we did a helicopter tour. Obviously that's like $700 already, so that didn't fit in the budget.
Budget for shipping, more than you already did, because the prices go up. It has gone up by about 30 to 40% since we shipped the first time.
Yeah.
And budget for breakdowns, more than you think, and having to fly in parts if your car is not made in the Americas. And double check if the engine, trust me, double check if the engine is the same as the one they make in the Americas.
BK London Deliciousness with 64. Are you still planning on a cruise to Antarctica when you reach Ushuaia? Sorry, I can't spell. Yeah, you misspelled Ushuaia. It's Ushuaia like this here on the screen. Are we still planning a cruise to Antarctica, Kim?
No, we are not. And we didn't really mention that because we got all excited when we first entered Mexico. We were like, Antarctica is so cool, and it's super expensive. It would cost like 5 to 7k per person to do like a 7 to 10 day cruise to Antarctica. But we're gonna come up with the money, 15 to 20k-ish. We don't care, we're just gonna do it. It was a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
And then the van started breaking down more often, and we also started to realize, well, we can do a lot of other things with $15,000, $20,000. And for us, because we're driving down to Ushuaia, the southernmost city in South America, we have to be able to book ahead on a cruise like that. And once you pay for it, you have to pay a deposit and stuff, you're committed. And then if Vinny says like, no, I'm not doing it, I want to find out all about the mechanic scene up here in Patagonia and stay put for a few weeks, then we might lose out on a deposit.
Because
or
shortly after that we made that decision in Mexico, near Mexico City in Puebla, we broke down for like 5-6 weeks, and there were a bunch of stuff we had with the van, and then like literally 4 months later we broke down again in
for
Mexico, just at the border when we were about to cross the border in Middle East, and we lost 2 more months. And then we realized like we don't want to that added stress as well of like having to have a set date that you need to be in Argentina, and there's so much, I mean, that can go wrong. And we really someday want to go to Antarctica, but that will probably be for the future, like
when we're rich.
When we are rich, when we're filthy rich. Now we're already filthy, we live in a van, really filthy. Now we just need to be rich.
Okay, wandered off, when you hit the end of the Pan American Highway, which by the way is in Ushuaia, are you shipping the van back and flying home, or driving back up, hitting places off the highway? What is next after the Pan American Highway? We have given this a lot of thought because obviously the end is near. In about a month or so, we plan to be down in Ushuaia and to finish the Pan American Highway and this road trip that we've been on for the last 2 years. After that, we know that we're gonna head back up the east coast of South America, the east coast of Argentina, and drive all the way up to the capital of Argentina, which is Buenos Aires. Beautiful city, fantastic food we've heard. And then from there, we're gonna ship the van back to Europe. But we have some thoughts on what we're planning next year, but nothing is final yet. The only thing that we really know is we want to spend some more time at home next year, because like we said, now we're averaging 1 month at home every year, and that is very little. So yeah, we're still thinking about what we're gonna do exactly, and we will keep you guys posted.
But we're not gonna go to Brazil or like the north of Argentina with the van or anything. At least that's currently not the plan. The plan is to, after we hit Ushuaia, drive back up to Buenos Aires, ship it back home to Europe, and then we're gonna see, like, we have a bunch of cool stuff in our heads, but like we're not sure yet what we're gonna do. But it's gonna be epic.
You know what's really cool? Something that I love on the iPhone, probably other phones have this too, is this feature that shows you on the map for your background screen where you are. That green little dot is where we are currently. Like, we're literally at the edge of the earth. There is the very bottom of South America is where we're going. I just think that that's so cool. Anyway.
Randy Hobbs asks, when have you bought new tires?
Well, recently, Randy. That's an oddly specific question.
We bought new tires when we were in Quito in Ecuador. The front tires were like worn out, completely done for. And then when we were in Peru, driving in the mountains, and there was another car coming, so I had to drive really close to the mountain. We almost hit the mountain with our car, but we ended up like damaging the tires. So we also like changed the back tires when we were in Peru. So
yes. So we're all good on tires.
New tires.
Yeah.
Vinny has new shoes. Rebecca Castle asks, would you try to learn language in other countries you visit in the future? You got pretty good with Spanish.
Well, we also had a lot of practice in Spanish. Like for the last year and a half, we've been speaking a lot of Spanish. I think we definitely, whenever we go to a new country, for example, in Italy, we try to learn a few words of Italian just for like to order coffee, to get some water, or to ask for directions or an ATM, or
thank you or something.
Some very basic, good morning, thank you, some very basic things. But then there's also just some languages. It's gonna depend on what we do next year. Some languages, it's just not possible.
Yeah, like Japanese or Thai.
We spent 5 months in Taiwan during the pandemic, and we know xie xie, which is thank you, but Belgium, the country we are from, Belishi, after 5 months of saying that word, people still couldn't understand us more than half of the time.
Like the pronunciation is very different. They use like different tonalities, and they have different like. And if you don't say it like exactly with the exact tonalities, they don't understand.
Yeah.
And Helen and Lotta, during your time in Central America, were you mainly stopping at campsites, or were you able to wild camp much?
Yeah. We wild camp.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of times we wild camp, or maybe like a very cheap just parking lot somewhere.
Yeah.
But definitely if we have some security concerns, like there were some areas in Costa Rica where there were some security concerns. We stayed at a campsite. Colombia, there's a lot of security concerns in places, so we, like 90% we stayed at campsites.
It might actually be surprising that Costa Rica is one of the countries that has more incidents on the Pan American, but for us, Costa Rica and Colombia were the ones where you read the most about people like getting into trouble when they were wild camping, like armed robbery kind of stuff, and then we're like, well, we'll just pay for the campsite.
Yeah, but probably like 80% of the time we don't stay at campsites.
Next question.
Glony01. I saw a video in which y'all stated that you work. What kind of work online do you do if you are on the road? Yeah, we actually do work online. So we basically have our YouTube channel, which is part of our income, but it's really not enough, and it's definitely not a stable source of income.
Income-wise, it's more like a hobby.
Okay, in 1 month it's really bad. That's why we also do quite a bit of freelance work actually. The main thing we do for freelance work is translation work from English to Dutch, Dutch to English, which is a native language. Dutch, we are from Belgium. And that's basically what we do for online work. We both do it.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of clients that we have had. Most of the clients we've had for a year, 2 years.
Yeah, we mostly work for like large companies that want us to translate like their website or blog posts or a pitching deck or newsletters, all sorts of stuff.
And sometimes it's like other stuff, like we also translate for a cycling news website. So any like big races like Tour de France and all the winners and everything, and interviews with people.
We've actually also been working on something else, on a little secret project that we wanted to fill you guys in on.
Yeah.
Naik, what have we been up to?
It's actually something really, really cool that I'm really proud of as well. And it kind of ties into this like work thing, because it's actually like work thing, and we hope that it grows and maybe we can also get some income from it actually. And we actually started a new channel. It's still about travel, but it's more about sharing our knowledge of travel and the countries we've been to. So we actually started a channel, it's called NK Travel Guides. We've been to so many different places, and we always get questions from people like, oh, what are the best places and blah blah blah. And it's kind of hard to just explain what the best places are. So we thought we would make videos about it. So
Yeah.
we posted some videos about what are the best places to go to when you're in Mexico City or in Canada or in Vietnam. And we also want to make some more like travel tips videos in the future. We spent quite a lot of time in Costa Rica actually, and we learned a lot about traveling in Costa Rica. And we just want to share that with people, so we're going to make like a travel tips video, all that kind of stuff. So I'm actually really excited about it.
And when we make those kinds of videos on this channel, it always does really well for us. We feel like we're pretty good at that kind of thing. But also, if we were now to start posting stuff about like a throwback top 10 video, best places to go to China, you would be like, are we not driving the Pan American anymore?
Yeah, it would be strange for like the people following our journey, so we decided like to just make a second channel about it.
And it's actually already live, this secret little channel. We would love if you could, after this video, go check it out and subscribe, because you can help us get to 1,000 subscribers, and then we can start earning some money from that channel as well.
Yeah, so definitely go subscribe. Like maybe you're traveling to some country in the future, or maybe you'll need it in the future. Just go subscribe now so you don't forget which channel it is.
I know what you're thinking. Like, are you guys out of your ever-loving minds? You haven't been posting as often on the Pan American lately, and now you made a second channel? Is this first channel gonna die? And no, it's actually not, because the reason we haven't posted so often is because we do a lot of freelance work, because sometimes this trip gets expensive on the Pan American. I am the one doing all of the editing, and just like 99% of everything that comes onto the main channel, I have been editing that and will be editing that, whereas this new channel is Naik's project, basically.
Ta-da! It's basically like in addition to the freelance work that we do, we want to share our knowledge. But of course, like if a lot of people watch those videos and find them helpful, we also get a little bit of money for that as well. So hopefully in the future, like a lot of people will watch those videos and we can get a bit more money from that as well, which would allow us like to do a lot less freelance work and actually maybe even post more going forward on the main channel.
And so Naik decides what places we're gonna talk about. For example, top 10 Costa Rica video, what 10 places we're gonna talk about. He writes the script. I read the voiceover, so you do hear my voice. Up next, Mexican food. All right, let's dive into the best part of visiting Mexico City, the delicious Mexican street food. But that's just about all I do. And so go subscribe to the channel. We will link that down below.
And if you have more accounts on YouTube, like subscribe as well. If your grandma has an account or your dog has an account.
And now, for the next couple weeks, this is South America. We are currently...
Here we are. We're close to Bariloche.
And we're gonna drive all the way down to the most southern point in the Americas, Ushuaia, down here. This bit of South America that runs through Chile and Argentina is known as Patagonia. It's basically like the Swiss Alps of South America, and it's supposed to be super, super beautiful. Glaciers, you can kayak with penguins. There's extremely good food in Argentina because they have crazy good beef. Messi is from Argentina. He's apparently worshipped around here, which means that we have 4 more weeks on the Pan American, and I personally think they're gonna be some of the best weeks because this is one of the most beautiful parts of not just the Americas but the entire world, and we're super excited about it. We have some really cool plans, also some special things coming up to celebrate together that we're in Argentina, in Patagonia. We'll be sharing more about that in our next video.
Bam. See you in the next one.
Go subscribe to the guide channel. Thank you. Bye-bye.